Hi, everybody. This is Joanna from Joanna's Early Morning Ascension Chat and Joanna's Breakthrough Series and Universal Love Light Ascension Teachings. Please feel free to log on to our website, ULWHC, Universal Love Light Wisdoms and Healing. We offer global webinars, or if you just want to email me, I'll leave my email in the description box below. Thank you so much for everyone being here and connecting with us on our videos. And please feel free to leave comments as we're moving along in our sacred communion. It's really important that we share. It's really important that we all reach out. It's really important that we co-create this sacred community as we do so within our sharings, as we do so within our world, and the ones that we love and the ones that we're meeting to love, and the ones that we're reaching out for etherically to come into our lives, to co-create sacred tribes and sacred soulmates. And so it's a beautiful experience to know that the heavens and all of the universe, in those heartfelt interactions and in the dream space, those higher vibrational consciousness connections, we allow all that we are to come forward and co-create new realms of play based on our soul's desire and excitement. So I'm excited to, for about a year now, I've been putting out the vibrations and the sacred sounds and tones and working with my teams for a soulmate. Just sending out the loving vibrations in a very relaxed and honoring way, understanding that divine timing in all things, because everybody is moving through their own unique paths. And I absolutely understand all of that. So I'm never in, I don't think I've put out the vibration of being impatient. I've been going through my own stuff too. So just stepping up into this new energy of being self-love and self-exploratory and self-creative, really honoring myself in a new way as the expression of love that I am. My hair is doing some really frizzy things today, and so whatever it might be that we're desiring for ourselves to manifest, this is our early morning ascension chat. And I wanted to talk about manifestation and how it relates to our interpersonal relationships, because it's something that absolutely every one of us on the planet, without exception, are moving through. Everyone is at a unique pace. They're at a unique transition and integration. Remember the cycle of ascension, the awakening stage, the integration stage, the processing stage, the releasing phase, and the healing phase. I mean, all of those are phases, not in that order, but those are the phases that we'll move through. And depending on what one is here to experience, what one is here to co-create for itself, they might be moving 2 or 3 phases at a time, just because of the compression of space that we're in, the multidimensional cosmic space that we are in. It's like we're in a bottleneck. And there is a pressure, as we've talked about before, from the top-down effect of those 3 universes going through a universal omnipresent ascension, transitioning into higher frequencies of consciousness. And so that puts that bottleneck pressure on all of the planets within the galaxy seas of all of those universes. And so the souls of all that we're connected with, us as the soul that we are, all aspects of what we are connected with as a soul version, if you will, this body, this particular Joanna body, has all of these infinite experiences that are moving forward in the same ascension, because it's a multiverse omnipresent experience. And depending on what the soul's desire to experience will be the pressure that one feels, or the intensity that one feels of what one is going through, because all timelines, this is a top-down effect of the soul itself, if you will. And the top-down effect is that your center is you and source, the creator, all that is, creating omnipresent energies. And so as you're moving through these bottleneck experiences, especially with the Lionsgate coming up and with these special alignments within our galaxy, we've always talked about the importance of the moon cycles and all of these beautiful alignments that are in our skies that have been very profound this year. If you look up how unique and how profound the Yod alignment is, and we've had 4 of them in a week lined up, sometimes 2 and 3 and 4 in a day. So it's been very profound, and the absolute connection that we are offered from the heavens, from the multi-councils that are all working on the benevolence of this ascension for the omnipresence. You can just imagine at that mind-boggling experiential potential what it's having on the all. So the more that we can live from this centered space, knowing that these profound intensities are affecting all life and all those around us. And depending on each soul's, of course, every soul that you're working within is also having these connections of their soul's experience. And most not understanding it or aware of it because we've never been taught about the multidimensional bodies, the psyche, how the psyche calls forward these wounds, if you will, from this lifetime, from that lifetime, from the 3 to 5D experience for us to heal and become the master of the multidimensional self. We're desiring to be the master of our entire experience, you know, our divine sovereign, you know, Christic omnipresence is what we are here all experiencing through that oneness, because that is mastery. Knowing that each and every person in your circle and cycle is also moving through their soul's bottleneck experience. And some may move through quite deep and rich densities because they've chosen to awaken at a later stage. And that will affect the emotional, mental, physical, and etheric bodies, making it feel as if there's pockets of time, if you will, where people in your surroundings and your circles are going through intense symptomatic experiences like depression or anxiety and you know, bipolar experiences. Bipolar experiences are those anxieties through which you react, you know, because the ego is going through its spiritual oneness. The ego doesn't know what to do. The ego is left in that you know, that whoa, you know, what's going on. So this is why it's really important, if we've offered anything at all, you know, to those that choose to awaken and those that you know, choose not to get that in depth with it, that's fine, because as we move further in ascension, the dense and negative energies and whatever it is that we're moving through will be cleared through the light. It just will. The more aware you are and the more in alignment of you are of your multidimensional allness, that allows you that mastery to say, okay, I am the now master of my ship. I choose to navigate and co-create my destiny the way that I choose. That's giving you that free will that Source birthed us and blessed us as, that we have ultimate free will and infinite free will to create joy, blessings, press out through the creation in whatever way and speed that we so desire. That's the free will offering. So if we choose to be as you know, that go-getter with our own destiny and to truly explore who we are as spirit, the all is offered to us. So if anything that we say through any of these accelerations and these bottleneck intensities, especially with the Lion's Gate tomorrow, know that the highest and best that you can ever do for yourself, especially if it's feeling very profound and in your release sessions, is that grounding is so important, because it aligns you with all that you are in your highest potential. And your highest potential will always guide you and lead you. There will always be answers. There will always be healing. There will always be the infinite synchronicities that come to you and feed you. They'll feed your cells. They'll feed your body just to relax that ego. And all of them, you know, what's really being pressed right now is the neural sensory systems. They're on overload. You know, so really release yourself from being on the electronics all day long, because those affect your sensory perceptions, and it's a non-natural experience, and that affects the cells. So get outside more and ground. That grounding automatically draws you into that center space, that heart space, and living from this center space will allow you to see how moving through these you know, these accelerations in ascension affect everybody. And, you know, many years ago, I remember when I first started teaching about the multidimensional bodies, the physical, the mental, the etheric, and the physical, mental, emotional, and etheric. I always say them in a certain order. When I first started teaching about it in the webinars, there was many students that were just not really interested, because there was that disconnection of the physical and spiritual. For many years, and I've been teaching this for many years, there is that disconnection that, well, consciousness is just the ethers, and I can just open my crown and I'll have that high consciousness. And there's so many people that have been on Ascension are really eager to reach that higher consciousness. They want to connect with spirit. They want to connect with their celestial teams. They want to connect with the highest conscious state. And I would always, you know, politely and gently bring it back around that you can only reach those higher consciousness states when you're in utter balance. So if you're disregarding any aspect of your multidimensional allness, there will always be that cap until it's brought into balance, and why we have those intensity of purgings, and why there's those expressions of feeling those intense emotional imbalances, like spontaneous depression feelings, if you will. You felt fine yesterday, but today you feel as if you're depressed. So this is why there's imbalances, and how to bring it back into balance is very simple. It's grounding and centering and nourishing yourself with as much love as you can. That's the only way. Love will always be the answer. It will always be to nourish yourself with love, nourish yourself with the planet, go swimming and be outside in natural environments, give yourself extra walks in the forest, salt bath bathings, really nourishing and self-loving yourself, forgiving those aspects that keep coming back around to whatever it is you feel guilty or shamed about, forgiving and releasing with the angels and your teams, and constantly returning to that self-love. And that will ease the flow of the river that we're all moving on, because it will continue to intensify. And these are the highest intensified energies we've ever experienced as human beings, and why we're feeling and sensing the energies upon the planet. So it's really important that we're grounding, so that we can be that pillar of light that sends and is that pillar of inspiration, of gentleness and kindness and compassion, and knowing that we're all moving through these bottleneck experiences, to release the blame and to release the the blame. That blame just keeps you in those vibrational cycles. That's the ego, that's that win-lose type of energy. And it's really about shifting it, returning to center. Returning to center. I've got this diagram here. We're also going to talk about crystals as well, of higher consciousness crystals. Returning to your center, the center point right here, the divine sacred heart, who you are as divine mother and father in your soul and your higher self living through you. Returning to your center and just saying, it's all love. It's all allowing me to understand compassion and forgiveness. It's allowing me to be there for others and hold space for others. And it's allowing me to be my masterful self, and release what you think is, who did what to whom, who was wrong and who was right. And just saying, this is how I choose to sort it out. This is how I choose to live in my pillar of light. And I'm offering this as an unconditional essence of love, but also to know that my soul is calling, and whatever it is, however you feel you need to, go about those conversations and discussions. But what we're moving through in this dynamic, that I wanted to talk about and bring it back around for families, and talk about, we've talked about infusion a lot, and entanglement, and how that affects your fields of those that are in your circles, and how it's really important. We'll always refer back to that pillar of light standing in your center, because these are not talked about and taught to us. And as your body's open, as your body's awaken, as an empath, as a crystal child, as a visionary, I'm sensing, and I can feel and sense everything that's going on. I'm a psychic sponge. And why I like to get myself out and into nature as much as possible, because it reorganizes and resets. And I have to focus a lot more of my time on clearing and cleansing my fields, and really maintaining my vibration. Because what happens is that when you're in circles, it's just a natural process of energy and entanglement. When you're in the experiences of entanglement, your core field, you can see that the field that we all exist within is about 8 feet. As we're all moving through ascension and higher light frequencies and light quotient, our fields will get bigger the more that we clean and clear. We're preparing ourselves to carry greater light in every multidimensional way. So every person that's in your family is this infinity cycle of energy that's constantly moving back and forth between you. And it's called the entanglement and infusion. That's what I have called it. Because that's how it feels. There are threads of energy that are pulling, and each and every one of you are weaving together. So if there's energies within your family that are all moving through their unique experiences of release, if you will, because each of you, as you move into an awakening process and you activate an aspect of your DNA, or something new comes to your experience, you've released a whole bunch of density, and you've gone through your 2 days worth of crying and clearing and healing your body and calling a greater water, and that process that we talk about, which is self-care. Your light field, your DNA, your experience of clearing and cleansing will affect those around you, and you're offering that light quotient for them to also step into their highest and best. It's always done through energetic experience first. That's why it's called entanglement and infusion, because it's felt at the energetic level first, especially with your children, because your children are far more awake in their DNA than we are, because they haven't had those years of belief systems and programs and all of the densities that we've experienced ourselves within. So their psyches are not as impressed, and I say impressed energetically, through the controlled programs that we have been impressed at, being 50 and 45 years old, if you say. And so their light and their soul and their fields are being energetically connected and enhanced, potentiated by all that you are doing. And it affects the all. It ripples out to the all. The collective on your street, the collective in your area, your light and your energy affects the all. Now, if there's those in your circle that are going through imbalances, if you will, at whatever stage they are at, and their thought forms are imbalanced, that's the mental body. If they're carrying programs in their mental body that they have not cleared, if they're carrying things in their emotional body that they're not cleared, or their physical body that are not cleared, those are still projections that they're sending out unknowingly. And that's when, as you awaken and as you clear your field, and as you're standing in your knowingness about, because you're doing your daily self-care, what is my value about me today? What is it that I want to experience, express, and explore today? When you're doing that daily self-care, self-knowing work, you can attune yourself very quickly to what others are needing and what they're projecting unknowingly, or what they're offering unknowingly, their thought forms unknowingly, the imbalances that they're moving through unknowingly, because they're not in that state of living consciously. They're consciously choosing to be in that higher state of vibration of knowing thyself. And that's what awakening really is knowing thyself, because you're constantly seeking within. Well, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Okay, let's release that. It doesn't fit me anymore. And that's the ego, letting go of all things that the ego thinks it's running, having to portray a certain vibration of intention. That's the ego. Whereas you're just living from the soul, you're just living as that unconditional love, and all things will be worked out as you're living from love, forgiveness, and compassion. Setting that standard for yourself, that's knowing thyself. No matter what comes forward, I will live as the unconditional vessel of love, because it is all love. I'm not going to play the ego games anymore. I choose to be love and standing in my power. So as you intend to be this unconditional love with your heart fully open and your vessel, when you're standing in this power and you're calling up your light shield, it doesn't matter what imbalances are presented to you, you're going to continue to flow that powerful light that transmutes those projections, therefore sending back to them the highest light potential. You walking in your path with your knowingness sends them the highest light potential for them to also walk in theirs. But they don't have to. It's always free will. So just know that this energy of infusion is very powerful. It's also very powerful when you're in intimate and sexual relations as well, because those energies pass through the sexual bodies and the sexual organs. And therefore, if there has been relationships that have been imbalanced, they have been negative or toxic or abusive, then it perhaps may be, depending on what your guides and your teams, it's always a good idea to clear and cleanse the sexual organs, through a 3-day process of meditation and clearing, and just clearing any children that have been abused in any way, to when they're ready, obviously, is to clear those sexual organs and the sexual bodies. Because they also call in the imbalances that are within the mental and the physical body and the emotional body that are always connected with any aspects of abuse, in whatever form, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical. Because again, it's all one. You can see it's all one. There is an infinite flow of energy moving between everybody on this planet. This is why those that are empaths and crystals and those that have been awakened for a while, it takes greater work to connect throughout the day, taking greater time throughout the day to recenter, ground with Gaia, ground with Source Creator, so that your light is constantly in that pillar, where you're not wavered and waffling back and forth through the imbalances of others around you, the collective around you, the planet that is also healing as well. Anything that happens on the collective level, Earth is trying to balance herself through our vibrations and what she is also being offered. And that's why there is those rumblings and those energies that have to release that negativity. And that negativity can be released in sometimes dramatic and traumatic ways through earthquakes and other natural frequencies of energy release. The more of us that are awake and living within our pillar of light, we can be that center point of stillness and calm, and sending peace and calmness to the grid, sending peace and calmness to the core of Gaia, sending peace and calmness to the collective, especially in high vibrational portals. Have Little Miss Unicorn back. We called her Mind Bumpy, or Bumpy Mind. So anybody has a name for her, please respond below. I do love unicorns. When I was little, I used to have a unicorn necklace. And I used to have a unicorn kind of velour blanket. My very first boyfriend got that for me when he was traveling. Not when I was little. I didn't have boyfriends when I was little. I think I was 17 or 18. No, I was 18. He bought me back a unicorn blanket from somewhere that he had been to. And I don't know where that blanket went, but I just loved it. You know, the unicorns. I loved unicorns. I've always loved unicorns. I have absolutely a unicorn experience in my soul. And thank you, unicornians. They're with us right now, tuning in. Thank you. The auspicious energies of the unicorns are so magical, and they remind us to tune into those magical energies of who we are as spirit. And just remembering those little moments like that allow you to remember the child within that always brings you back to the happy memories of who you are as joy and believing in magic. Thank you. Thank you, unicornians. Thank you so much. And welcoming miracles into your life, you know, in all moments. Having compassion for those that are around you that are moving through their own stuff, and just offer lovingly and politely and gently. You know, we're all moving through something really profound. It's all new for us. So be okay with yourself. It's all good. Everything is perfect. Everything is divine. Just allow yourself to forgive and let go as often as possible. I forgive and let go, because we often beat ourselves up by the tiniest little things, and those keep us in lower vibrational ego energy programs of not being enough, of, you know, having to, you know, align yourself with beliefs and programs that were taught to us through dogmatic systems, or, you know, those old psyche programs that don't serve us in this fifth dimensional potentiation. And it's always free will. So my intimate chat with you this morning is, you know, what I'm going through in my life is really, really feeling into and exploring vibrationally that, the essence of, you know, standing in my power as a divine feminine, and really exploring it as a power. And I've talked about this, I've offered it in a conversation a while ago, and I wrote it down because it was quite perplexing to me. You know, through all of my life, I'm a middle child, and as the middle child, I always succumbed to the background and allowed my older sister and my younger sister to kind of, you know, play out their roles and their energies. And it was always fine for me. I wasn't one that sought the center stage type of energy. I would come in and say what I had to say, and then I would, you know, retreat back and let everybody discuss. I would be the instigator of conversation and dialogue, because I wanted to unknowingly inspire people to think deeper and think more rich within our society, who we are, what we're all doing here. I know this now, why I always did that. You know, because it was my way to inspire community. It was my way to inspire who we truly are in a different way than as a child and as a growing up and as a youth, I didn't know. But one thing that I'm feeling this reawakening and renewedness with, and I call in the many goddesses, and I call in, you know, the many leaders, you know, in etheric form and on other realms and other dimensions. It's all very real. It's just a matter of the level of vibrational allowance that we allow ourselves to flow with. So when I say goddess, like the goddess Isis and Sekhmet and Bastet, all of those goddesses that were very powerful in their energy, and, you know, Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, these beautiful divine feminines that were of the greater good, and their service and their devotion was to light and love and oneness. And that's those energies that I'm desiring to further explore and accentuate and really bring into my life experience. But that one aspect, because of the, as I've talked about in our last video, about the arbitrary definitions and the boxes that we've all placed male and female in, and why our society has gone through such transition and changes with how we've labeled and how we've defined our sexuality, or how we define who we are, and why should we even define who we are? You know, we're all love. But one of those energies that I've been, you know, exploring naturally in this awakening of becoming my higher self, because that's the harmonization with the higher self, is wanting me to stand within my power and speak my truth with authority, to speak my needs and my desires with authority, not with apology or, okay, that's okay, and I'll just slip to the back and let everybody else have their way and my needs never get met kind of thing. And that's what I did as a child, because everybody else's needs around me were more important than mine, or so I thought. And we kind of take on these energies and behaviors as that soul lesson. Well, no, this is my power and this is my truth. This is my sovereignty that I've come to express and explore and experience, because I'm also being an example for others that choose to say, you know, this way of being hasn't felt comfortable for me, and I'm ready to make that change. How can I do it in these tiny little steps that really feel good for me? And I'm honoring who I am as a soul. Every single person on this planet has a soul experience they're meant to connect with and heed the call. Live that call, live the song of light that you are. And again, it's always free will. But that energy of feeling that power and feeling that what I really want to get and allow this to be really exciting for you to muse about. The authenticity of power, you know, and when I offered this, I think it might have been last summer. It's on one of my videos, a Christic power. What is the Christic power? And how can each and every one of us live it so that we're being genuine and gentle and authentic? And that's the divine feminine power that I'm exploring. Being completely nurturing and nurturing of others in their path, but standing in that power so that, you know, you won't be manipulated, your light won't be compromised, you're going to speak your truth, your needs and desires will be met. So there's always that balance that we're moving within. And that's mastery. It's practice. It takes practice, you know, especially going through, you know, standing in your power as the divine male and the divine feminine, that we're rebalancing. And again, it's arbitrary. So please allow yourself not to get stuck within the societal collective definitions of what is male and what is female, because it's all arbitrary, you know, and who makes up this anyways? We have equal energies in any one moment, and it's constantly flowing, so it's never stuck. If it is stuck, if it's only one way of male dominance, if you will, then that's when the imbalances occur, and that's when ego seems to want to take over. So that's when those energies get stuck. So to flow the male and female, regardless of how we define it and box it and place it in these tiny little categories, because it's not, it really isn't. Everything is fluid and everything is moving. So what I'm saying is that when you open to the soul and you breathe with the soul and you breathe with the heavens and you breathe with the higher self through your intention, I'm going to fluidically move in the flow of source. And I know that I can stand within my Christic power, and I can know that my light will not be compromised by others or their intentions, because it doesn't matter when anybody else's intentions are around you. You're standing in your light with genuine, authentic, powerful, loving truth. That light is your truth, and it takes practice. It takes practice. One cannot just simply wake up with it. It takes practice. There will be that point after so much practice, because the soul, your soul, especially with what you're here to do collectively, if you're here to serve the greater collective, you will be tested and tested and tested and tested until all of the multidimensional soul lessons have been learned. Physically, mentally, emotionally, etherically. And again, I've talked about this, writing 100 books on what I've been through, because that's what I've just said. You know, it will take me quite some time to share even a tenth of what I've experienced, because as I'm stepping out to greater collective potentiation, because I'm absolutely excited to connect with on and off world contact. And I know in other lifetimes and other dimensions, I am an ambassador in the universe, and I move in and about different planetary experiences, helping create light and peace and oneness. So I know that those energies are within my vibration. At this 3, 4, 5D level, there's many soul lessons that I'd have to practice, to heal, to overcome, physically, mentally, emotionally, and etherically. There will be tests that your soul will require that you move through, so that you attain that mastery of the soul, so that it is for the greater good. And why those vibrations can be felt by those that can sense it, that those that are ready for it, that our oneness and our unity is all, love is the all, and any lesson can be overcome, any healing can be done through that love. That's that knowingness of will. And it's practice, it's mastery. Because there was an experience, you know, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and I was stating my truth, and I said, no, you know, this is what I need now. I need more. And those around me were like, well, you've never said that before. And I said, I know, because your needs have always been more than mine. But now it's not the case. My needs are as important. We are all equal. So I'm going to give to myself as much as I give to you. So to say what you need to say in a way that's nurturing and honoring of all involved, again, because if you do so, and why I'm always getting back, it's such an important image and illustration. I think my website girl has put all of these illustrations on our website. So please, there's a section there for illustrations and the classes that we teach on this. And it's really, really important, because as a parent, when you get what's going on in your house at the energetic level, we can release all of those old paradigm energies that we thought we had to manage, direct, control, manipulate in all the ways that we've done throughout the eons of human experience, but we don't. If we are setting that vibration in our unique truth, which is what that sovereign, divine guardianship is all about. The guardianship, you're being divine master and guardian of the male and female frequencies. Your oneness with earth, your oneness with the heavens, all will be served. It just will. It's an automatic flow of light. So when you're flowing unconditional love, stating your truth, stating your needs in a way that's loving and nourishing, they're receiving that love and nourishment, saying that, wow, she's actually standing in her truth, saying what she needs. This is showing me that I can speak my truth and say what I need. And that is the most important for our children to see, is the emulation of that vibration, because they can tell when you're out of alignment of what you're saying and what you're doing. Because actions speak far greater than words do. So that vibration of what I'm speaking, that vibration to them is that action. They can feel it. They can feel the mistruth. They can feel the out of alignment. They can feel the imbalance. So when you're saying, no, this is what I need. I need that greater affection. I need that emotional connection. I want to open my heart and connect. So I'm going to come forward and I want to connect with you at a deeper level. This is what I need as a soul. I want to connect at a deep level. And I'm speaking my truth. I'm sharing with you how I want to be treated. I'm sharing with you how I want to be heard and acknowledged. You know, I want my heart to be opened and honest and true and enjoyed, you know, and nurtured, you know, and when I connect with you, I nurture you and I honor you. And I'm looking for that in return. And that's that flow, you know. And so as I've often, I've told my kids for many, as soon as they started going to school, you've got to tell kids and you've got to tell others how you want to be treated and show them how you want to be treated, because they just don't know. Others don't know. There might be blocks in their emotional, mental, physical, and etheric field. Whatever programs they've been brought up in, that's all they know. That's what they've been shown. So now we as the pillars of light are showing a new vibration that is in truth, that is in integrity, that is balanced male and female, that stands the test of time, that we will not destroy ourselves, that we will not destroy one another, that we will stand within the integrity, that we are nurturing one another to become higher vibrational beings of a collective and a community that are of the heavens. We are the kingdoms, each and every one of us. We are the vessels of source. So how may this be a nurturing divine experience so that we're standing in our power, calling up our light shield so that we're not thrown off by the imbalances and the projections of others. And when you're feeling those projections and you're going through those experiences, then to sort it out and, you know, with great honesty, determination to say that, and that allows everybody to say what they're willing and not willing to move through as a collective family unit. There are certain behaviors and there's certain things that others are just not, you know, in their vibrational free will choice, they're not willing to compromise on, you know, and there's an infinite number of things that come up, you know, you know, there's an infinite number of things that, you know, partners will be moving through because their vibrations are shifting and changing, and that's free will. That's where they're at that point. Not to say that will always be that way, just that's where they're at that point, and it must be respected. That's that free will respect. And so it's a working things out, you know, and everybody in that family will be touched by that light and standing within that genuine, authentic experience to respect all souls, to bring all souls up to that equal platform of value. You are valued. Your needs and your desires are valued. Your light is valued. Standing in your power is so valued. That's what's needed as our collective, because we are not controlled by the dogma systems. We are not controlled by societal systems. We can stand as sovereign beings, as powerful Christic beings, and know thyself. Therefore, we're not having to be controlled or manipulated by outside systems. Well, we know ourselves. Why do we even have such systems that create separation and minorities? So that's where the light is needed and threaded and weaving within every infrastructure. As you weave your light and standing in your power of integrity and truth in a loving and gentle and kind way, you're standing and you're speaking of the divine feminine, always nurturing, always honoring, always loving, unconditional, forgiveness. You're allowing whatever person, they're going to go to work and they're going to offer that vibration in their field, whether they speak it or say it or even believe it, they're offering it in their field. And it affects the all, it ripples out. And that's the quantum entanglement that we all experience. And as you move through your DNA awakening, so too will your kids. Like I've noticed in my kids, when I'm going through a healing and a release, so too will they within a day or two. So we're collectively amping ourselves up. And that truth that you walk within in your core, I am that I am presence, they feel that vibration and it shifts and changes. Our fields are helping one another clear each other's fields. And why, and this is why I said at the beginning, to know and the temperament and the soul's journey that each and every one is moving through. Because, as you're ready to just get out and explore and do more things, there's others in your circle that are not ready yet. And that's okay. You're each on your different speeds, and you're different, like those things in the airport where those moving sidewalks. And you're all at different paces. That's okay. It doesn't mean that you're not one anymore. It doesn't mean that you're not in that same loving, caring about one another. It just means that the allowance of everybody's soul and free will must be adhered. Because then the imbalances start when others start to push and pull others back, or create the dissension, or create other imbalanced ego energies because they're not understanding the oneness of it all. And that's okay too. Everything is purposeful and everything is needed. And to know that each and every one of these, everyone within your circle is there to show you and offer whatever is in your field that is required to be healed. So any projections that someone is sending you and any energies that you're feeling or sensing is an opportunity for you to say, okay, well, why was I sensing that? That's not a part of me anymore. You'll get to that point where that's not mine, that's theirs, because you're understanding that you've healed and you've cleared that, especially if you're an empath. For many years, I was walking around thinking that everything was my fault. Oh my gosh, what did I do now? Oh my gosh, what did I do now? Oh my gosh, got my entire childhood and lifetime. And that's not the case at all. It's just the case. Those are their projections of insecurities that were sent to you, and you were a psychic sponge and you soaked it up. When you're an empath or a psychic sponge, you can go out and you'll be walking past someone in the grocery store and it's like, whoa, you feel it. You can feel the words that people think, and you can feel the vibrations that they hold. And so that's why others that are not awake and their bodies are not turned on, they're often saying you're too sensitive, or you're too this, or you're too that, or their eyes are rolling, whatever it might be. That's fine. That's an experience that they're perceiving, but you don't have to take that on, because your truth is something different. And that's okay. Everybody's truth in this experience is valid. And each person can stand within their truth as you do to say, well, that's fine, but I have the right to feel how I want to feel. And I choose to experience a more supportive environment, with others that also experience this as well. And we can help one another rise to a higher level, as opposed to it being combative all the time, because those are the projections and those are the imbalances that others are trying to catch up or not feel within themselves. So this is where each and every person, this is what's so profound. This is what is so profound in this beautiful, multidimensional, each and every person within the collective experience, whether it's in a small collective, family, unit, friends, lovers, doesn't matter. Every person is going to be moving through their multidimensional, cosmic, omnipresent directorship. And it's very powerful. That's why I want to get back to power. I keep threading power back to this. It's so, so important right now on our planet. When you're standing in your power and you're living in your truth through your daily self-care, you're clearing what no longer serves. You're standing in your truth. What is value to me today? How do I want to express, explore, and experience myself? I'm standing in my truth, and I'm going to speak it, and I'm going to explore it, and I'm going to express it. When you're standing and knowing thyself and living as thyself as love, and you're allowing yourself to embody that divine nurturance and that unconditional loving heart, every single person will move through their navigation of experiential energy, because it's all energy. The physical is just an illusion. Whatever it might be that they need to experience, whether it's healing abandonment, healing, healing control, whatever it might be, because there's an infinite number of things everybody moves through. Their sense of self is it's the highest thing that we seek. Know thyself. Oneness with source. You're all one. It's all. Each and every one of us get to be that driver. And it sounds so simple, but that vibrational statement is so profound. It is the gift that God blessed us with. Source, creator, all that is omnipresence, and all universes are linked with this vibration. It affects all. We are the drivers. So how may we do so within the divine balance of oneness and love? And when you do, you breathe with the heavens. You breathe as a soul. You breathe as this omnipresent essence that is divinely powerful and sovereign. And we're coming back to power because I taught a class on this, I think in the summer. And I was sitting there in just a quiet meditation with my teams. And I said, I'm having trouble, I think it was last summer I started entering into this whole new paradigm of fifth dimensional power. What does fifth dimensional power even mean? Because anywhere that we look upon our planet, we can perceive, and we have been told and taught power in an infinite number of ways that is only quite not what true power is. True power is the alignment of who you are as source, and to live it, to be it. That centering, I know who I am with source. I am the male, I am the female, I am the sun and the moon. And that Christic sovereignty and what I taught, and how to feel into it and be the vibration of inner power, empowerment, only comes from within. We can inspire others. Inspiration really only comes from within. Each person can only inspire themselves. There may be outside energies that can ignite inspiration from within, but inspiration and empowerment come from within. No one gives it to you. It is driven from within, because it's all energetic. It can only be derived from within. And when it is within, that is that inner seeking, that inner power, that inner oneness with source. You are source. You are the center of the universe. You're creating it all. Christic source, to be in benevolent alignment with all that is, with infinite growth, with infinite co-creation, is the goodness and the greater good of all, the benevolent factor. That is the pure alignment. And that's why mastery is taken by the road, is always the road less taken, because it requires great devotion and dedication to always return to center what is in the greatest good. Not ego. Ego is always surrendered. Every opportunity and every connection, I'm surrendering my ego. Ego can play a part, but I'm living as a soul now. Ego is surrendered in every experience and interaction. When you live as a soul, it's benevolent. Your soul and your spirit will allow you to live as love. And even in your manifestations, it's soulful. You're just allowing source to bring to you whatever it is you need. It's not an ego make work project. You live with that will. Yes, this is what I'm excited to experience, express, and explore. It will come to me. My soul is vibrating, pulsating, these beautiful vibrations of oneness, of togetherness, of, co-creating beautiful centers of healing for children. And all of these things are being pulsated out to the all. And it will come together and stay on that devoted path, stay in that vibration, and let not anything waver. That's how dreams and miracles come forward. It's because you're not being waffled back and forth by the imbalances of others, or the plans of others, or the motives of others. Because when you're working your way to mastery, that's what your soul will want you to be tested in. How easily are you swayed from your path? That's ego. Ego will taunt you with the this and the that and the this and the that. It's an immediate satisfaction. That's ego. But it does not serve the soul's calling. It's not the heat of the soul, that calling of the soul. And that is only done through knowing thyself, always living from that powerful center space of unconditional love, standing in your pillar, knowing who you are. That's okay, that can be your truth, but this is my truth, and I don't want to entangle in those games and energies anymore. And you can have that still standing in your light, projecting unconditional love, so that when they're ready to awaken to their soul's calling of what spirit and soul really are, that's okay too. Or if they continue to live from a greater ego experience, that's okay too, because you're still learning. You're still offering unconditional love, but you're still maintaining your direct path into that soulful projection, not ego, you know, karmic energies and games, because your soul will always test you. You know, can you maintain your focus on the path that you've come to? Whether that's expressing yourself, exploring yourself, or experiencing yourself as pure love, pure joy, pure bliss, pure creation. Because we live in such a material world that's been so undervalued with spirit, you know, undervalued with our connection with one another. And that's why when soulmates come together, the outside worlds tend to test the soul couple, you know, and there can be a lot of interference energetically because it's playing out on a multidimensional plane, if you will. Everything plays out on a multidimensional plane all now. So when soulmates come together that are a powerful connection of light and souls, the outside world will seem to test that soul couple, so that soul couple can learn the lessons at that soul level. What devotion and commitment level and playfulness level are you able to sustain with one another, to work through what needs to be worked through, so that your connection will not be thwarted, if you will, by anything on the outside, because it is all illusory. You know, it's for that soul couple's lessons, and those on the outside peripheral, if you will, they're all learning. You know, they're learning from the majesty of those souls coming together, and the vibration that they emit together, and the vibration that they co-create and nourish within one another. And everybody on their peripheral feels it and is sensed by it, if it's done within that heartfelt co-creation. And that's why those soul couples are tested. You know, how easily are each one thwarted away from one another and you know, given to one another. If it's that soul true bond, then that soul couple will work within that nourishment of pure soul love. And that's at that soul level. It's heart and soul level. And those bonds are not broken by anyone or anything. You know, and that's why the universe, you know, oftentimes will step in for those energetic embodiments and protections, to allow those soul couples their time and their space to honor the light that is built within their union. And it's all based on not every not every soulmate couple, obviously, because it's always free will. Everything is always free will. Every soulmate couple is different and unique, and every soul partnership is different and unique. And their soul union is for the greater good, not only of their souls, but of all souls involved. And so it's always a beautiful enmeshment of back and forth that's equal, and where the majority of the soul lessons and the karmic lessons have been learned and cleared and cleansed. And it's ready for pure, loving co-creation and fluidic nourishment. And that's why you'll feel yourself, you know, when you finish those karmic lessons and the pains of those vibrational games that just seem to go back and forth and nobody wins. Or when it just feels stagnant, that there's no growth at all. Those are energies that are allowing you to say, okay, well, it's time for me to really press out and begin a new co-creative level of experience, because your soul is saying, this is mundane. There's nothing in it for me anymore. That is no judgment in a quantitative or qualitative on any experience. The soul desires itself to expand. That is creation. That is evolution. It is innate within our DNA. It is innate within our essence of who we are as a soul, especially those that have come to do great collective work. Their souls must press out. Not in every case. If they're asleep and they're denying it or they're resisting it, as I did for many years, the universal and your soul will get stronger and stronger and stronger until it's made, and the universe will come down sometimes, and your teams in the universe will create tower moments until you wake up. Your soul is meant to be expansive. You have things that you wanted to express, explore, and experience for you, for your happiness. I get great joy out of offering universal wisdoms. I get great joy. It makes me feel so happy. I get to help people. I get so excited. And I'm, you know, my part of my excitement within a soulmate partnership is to have that excitement to be, you know, to be nourished and to be empowered and to be encouraged and to be that partner with me, equally with me in that. So I'm really excited about that soulmate union that I know is in my future. I absolutely know it, and I feel it. You know, I I'm very intuitive and I'm very awake. So anyways, what we wanted to talk about as power, that Christic sovereign power. Christic sovereign power begins, for me, it's always unique to each and every person, depending on where their soul is at and what lessons they're here to learn, because every vibration will be different as you're moving through your greater awakening into mastery. But it comes within the 7 rays, and it will be greater rays because the 7 are only based on our 7 chakras, but there's far more because there's like 14 dimensions going into 15 dimensions. As we expand and press out, so too the dimensions, so do the rays that we work with, and so do our chakras. Every time we awaken and clear and cleanse, our chakras become more active when we create higher vibrational connection with our higher chakras. And so just in a nutshell, this is not all of the vibrations, but power, that sovereign Christic power, is always based within your soul's truth. Who am I? Know thyself. That's why when you're not living consciously, when you're living from that subconscious level, when all of your beliefs and all of those hidden traumas are in the subconscious level, how we go through our dream times and try to heal these, that's subconscious living. You're not living as that conscious creator, as a soul. I'm choosing to create my life from a living and loving space now. I'm conscious, I'm aware. I'm awake and I'm aware that I'm connected with the all. I am the all. That's a consciously aware space where I'm manifesting everything. This is all me. It's all my doing. That's when you take ownership and responsibility. Wow, okay, I can do this. And then you start setting out standards and boundaries and value systems. Well, what do I want to experience? Know thyself. It's always in your truth. Well, this is my truth today, and it's ever shifting based on your awakening and your expansiveness and your pressing out, because you're going to become more wise and more expansive and greater in your awareness, and becoming more compassionate and more understanding for what all others are working through, as well as we're going through this bottleneck expression. And it's allowing that your truth is your truth for that moment, and your power is within that truth, but so too are all others. And it's okay that they have their truth. It's okay that we're honoring it. And that's part of our oneness and our whole collective that each and every person is moving through at different versions and various stages. Because as we see something, we immediately, from our old paradigms, we judge it as good or bad, or, however we judge it, but it's all neutral. Everything that we see, if we're living from that higher space, is all neutral. Then we get to see what's being triggered within us and how can we heal it. What's coming to the forefront right away as it triggers are always things for us to heal, face it, forgive it, compassion, move on and heal. The allowance factor is knowing that all is love, all is profound and powerful to continue to align us to the path that we have chosen at that soul level. When you're living as a soul, you absolutely know you live as that vibration of knowing. Yes, I'm living as a soul. I absolutely know I am here. I am here for this. I am so excited to experience and express this today as me. I'm exalting me. And it's allowing the miracles to unfold through you. You're allowing that power to live through you. Powerful, powerful miracles in all moments, if you so choose. That's your truth. I know that I am a vessel of miracles. I'm allowing my God self to come forward. And it's always loving, because that's the sovereign Christic energy. It's loving. Standing in your power is very loving. I'm standing in my truth. It feels so great, because if I didn't love my mental body, if I didn't love my emotional body and how it directs me and what feels good and what doesn't, if I didn't love the truth within me that says I'm a great communicator, I have Christic sound vibrations, I'm light language, all of these beautiful things that allow you to experience yourself, to express yourself, to know yourself as source, that's love. That's self-love and honoring it. Yeah, I'm going to take this today. I'm going to be this today. Yeah, I will. I'm excited. This is a loving essence of me. Of course, I'm standing in my power. And it's pure, right? Know thyself is pure. Today, I'm going to express myself as this divine feminine goddess. And this is a pure vibration I want to experience. I want to explore this experience. And it's going to take me from my entire life. It's never ending. Your vibrational exploration today about what purity means to you is different tomorrow and the next hour. So play with these vibrations of what power means to you. To stay within a pure essence of power, it's profound, because it will keep taking you deeper and deeper to what pure and power means to you. And it's that oneness with source. It's always soft. It's always gentle. It's always unconditional. It's always nurturing. That's the Divine Mother. In the moments that I found myself, just moving through these releases and these next stages and the Divine Mother, and the beautiful families of the heavens and all of my sacred teams that are with me, just supporting me and cheering me on. They told me last night, we're all cheering for you. We all believe in you. You're ready to take that next step up. You're ready to step into that next level. Are you going to live within that truth and believe in yourself as much as we do? That's when you're living in that sacred I am presence. Yes, I believe in myself as much as Source does. I believe in me. That's powerful. That is empowerment. It only comes from within. You can only give it to yourself. No one else can do it for you. You're the only one that can say, I'm done with living in lack. I'm done with allowing others to put me down. I'm done with, allowing myself to think that my needs and my expression is not important and valued, because I am. I'm so worthy. That is true power. When you claim it, when you own it, when you declare yourself worthy of being happy and declare yourself worthy of being joyful, that's power. That's living and knowing thyself. And it's always very soft, as I said, because that's Source creator. It's always very soft. Source is a creator of galaxies and universes. I mean, Jupiter, the biggest planet, that's Source. And yet it's the most delicate, soft, and elegant experience. And this is why I've always been so passionate about teaching, because many of our structured sciences and physics and all of the scholastic historical teachings have been very biased to evidentiary conclusions. When it comes to the nature of the cosmos and cosmology and all of these beautiful, elegant, profound, unexplainable, undeniable Source energies. It's Source. There will always be the mystery that is Source creator, and it absolutely is, no question of any, it doesn't matter how intelligent one person may think they may be, and they're very well in their own right, but there will always be the majesty of Source creator, and that is the miracle that is love. And love will always be the underlying, undeniable facet of all creation and evolution. It just is. That is love. That is Source. To be as soft as a feather and to create the most majestical, powerful suns and stars and systems and galaxies and planets. And it is an elegant design and benevolent design that's delicate and loving and powerful. And knowing that is the flow of love. Our learning and our growing comes from the releasing of the ego and the very domineering energies that we are healing and soothing and releasing into this nurturing, powerful, mothering, divine feminine allowance that is the creatorship of all life. And that's that 5D shift. And in every moment, how can we live that? That's powerful. That's that Christic power. And above all, for me, it's sacred. All life is sacred. All breath is sacred. And in every hour of our day, we can become and live that sacredness as whatever is presented, it is sacred. It is worthy. And allowing those vibrations of knowing thyself, being that pillar, being that strength of who you are, calling up your light shield so that your light is not compromised and you can see things from the highest perspective and know that highest vibration that you're emulating out, calling in that power of who you are and being that power of who you are, will offer the greatest light to all of those in your circle so that all others too can allow themselves the potential of living in their highest truth, so that the soul and the aspects of all that you are served. As you live within your highest truth and your power, your all is served. Every aspect of you is receiving that embodiment and that higher flow of light because you're allowing all that you are just to live and be. The empowerment of being sovereign, the empowerment of being love. It's so profound. And you're setting the highest vibrational example for your kids. And that's what's so important. That's what they need from us, to set that platform for them so that they can come forward in their highest truth. Their highest, not what we dictate it for them, not what outdated dogmas have taught, and systems and societal energies that are still so domineering in vibrational control systems and fear and limitation, which they sense and they feel anyways. But we are setting that vibrational experience of love, unconditional love and nurturing. and following your truth, no matter how different and weird it might seem. You know, wow, mom's going on her path, and nobody else is treading that path, you know, that we know of. And yeah, that takes courage, and that takes great strength. And at some point, all will benefit from it, you know, however it might be for your own particular unique story. But we're at that point in time as a collective where we're all reviewing and reflecting upon what is not working. We're all getting ready to start this new year, if you will, of school, if you will, of September. You know, how can we create the highest vibration of rainbow light? And the rainbow light frequency for me is the diversity and the uniqueness of our collective experience, and how can we be it in all ways to create greater openness and break through the veils of limitation. It's truly the veils of limitation. All of our routines are veils of limitation. So how can we break through and be more fluid and be more open to how our lives can look and can feel? How your vibration to feel into this. Oh, I can feel into this. It feels more open. It feels more loving. Let's do this. And allowing everyone to have their space in creating, you know, because it's not just those of us that are awake. We're setting the vibration, holding the space. But there's others within your group and within your circle that are also a part of breaking through the veils, because they're being activated by your light. And they have those, you know, like they've often told me about the codes and the light language and the sacred sound that I come with, and that many others do as well. They're breaking it's like a cell, you know, the cell, and it has that membrane. And so that light language breaks the membrane for that cell to become awake, to wake up, and it starts moving and vibrating. That cell then activates other cells around it. And that's what is in the fields, the vibrational fields in the bodies. And it's in the collective membrane. So anything that is a code that's in the collective membrane that soul knows, that field knows that it needs, that soul will create as you're walking about, oh, I've got that code. And that allows them, as they're sleeping or meditating or going about their day or being activated by a book that they're reading at the library, they're also being activated because their soul and their higher self is calling it in. It's all an orchestration. That's source, that loving exploration. It's all source. Oh, squirrely. No more nuts, squirrely. Squirrely's looking for more nuts. Crazy squirrel. He's so funny to watch. He just like, he's so territorial. He stands and he makes that noise on every dish that I have around the house. And he's letting all birds know that it's off limits. Oh, too funny. I don't know what I was talking about, but anyways, let's talk about Moldavite now. This is one of my favorite stones. This is Moldavite. So beautiful. Moldavite, and it's very rare to buy a piece of Moldavite that is this size anymore. Usually they come in much smaller particles, like this big. But to have Moldavite that's this big is quite rare, because Moldavite is not from this planet. It is a stone that was sent as a type of like a crater rock, sent to this planet for us to activate higher states of consciousness. Again, divine design, planning, and so on, like the Pleiadians assisting us with codes and the grids and the portals and the vortices. All things are in the divine plan of ascension and awakening for higher evolutionary light programs. And so Moldavite is a gorgeous, gorgeous crystal, as you can see. I don't know if you can see this, but when I work with my Moldavite, the more that I work with it, the more that I wear it, it changes with you. So your frequency and your energies and your intentions of the Moldavite crystal become they mold with you. They mold. I don't know if that's part of one of the reasons why it's called Moldavite, but I've noticed it more particularly with this stone. I also have lapis. That lapis changes with me in the face structures and the veins. So if I'm carrying around, I work with a certain type of lapis, I will see faces and I will see energy stories within the Moldavite or within the lapis. And if you're working with them on a constant basis, they show you, because there is cosmic, galactic, and celestial codes that are stored within crystals. And if I'm just giving this as an example, this one particular crystal can be coded by your celestial team and your soul and the heavenly families so that you can assist in working with the codes that you need on certain desires and excitements and explorations of your earthly lifetime. to connect you and to keep those connections of galactic and celestial energies moving through your circle. Moving through you. So this representation can be a Moldavite or a lapis, a crystal, and it's continuing to move through you and activating your fields and activating your heart center. Also activating your certain chakras, because crystals are used on the chakras to help clear and heal. Depending on what crystal you have, the crystal will, depending on your intention of it, what we've offered in our video the other day, is that if you're wanting to activate and amplify, clear your crystals, then to do it in the sun. Clear them with the water of the Holy Christ and say, I'm clearing, I'm cleansing these crystals with the Holy Christ. It's being purified and cleansed. Put them in a little dish and set the intention with your hands and with your heart and say, I'm asking my souls and my teams to come and clear this with the light and the codes of the Holy Son, the Divine Mother and the Father working together to clear these crystals so that they may be amplified for my greater benevolent work. Whatever invocation you want to use. This is I'm doing it. My body's already clearing as I'm invoking. It's always a multidimensional, beautiful system. Your bodies already know, your cells already know. Everything's working. That's the fields of God. That's the omnipresent. That's the innate body, the smart body, the motherboard working with the fields of God. And these crystals, your intentions are everything, your core vibration. I'm living in oneness with all things, all life, all crystals. And these are my intentions. I'm really excited to play with these crystals. These are my Moldavite crystals. And I work with them in a galactic celestial sense. And so I put them out in the sun the other day through the full moon. The full moon energy is also playing into effect, but because the moon energies are amplifying, the sun energies, I wanted them to completely clear everything from the past and assist me in these new chapter, a new program that I'm moving into, galactically, celestial, universally omnipresence. So that I've programmed these crystals so that I can begin in my meditation to speak with the crystals and through the crystals and have them activate whatever needs to be activated in these new chapters that I'm working with, for light language, for sound, for communion with the inner and outer galactic communities, inner earth shamans, outer earth shamans, and galactic shamans, and so on. And so Moldavite is a beautiful crystal because it is not from this planet. It was sent here for the purpose of higher consciousness activation. And that's why there's only limited supplies, and why usually if you're searching for Moldavite, a good Moldavite, you can see the richness of it within. The center is usually darker, but you will see it's fairly kind of translucent on the outer corners. That's a good Moldavite, because there are those that sell Moldavite that is not true Moldavite. And it is really expensive now. It wasn't 5 years ago, 6 years, 7 years ago, which is when these were bought and purchased and why they're so big. But they've molded with me through time, and they have got certain carvings and certain galactic symbols in them as I work with them, and they change as I work with them. So I know that now this is my new chapter, my new cycle, these will change even further. They have different etchings on them. This one has more etchings on them, you can see in different light language symbols. But this is a higher consciousness crystal. Through activating the higher consciousness states of awareness, remembrance of who you are as a galactic celestial being. Be prepared. Moldavite is expensive. I've always suggested I have one, luckily I have a really great crystal store here in town. And they know exactly who they get their Moldavite. They shop personally, one-on-one with their crystal people all over the world when they buy their crystals. So I know where I get my crystals and my Moldavite. And to get the good quality ones. And so just be aware that when you're shopping for your crystals, to have an outlet and a store. Etsy is also really good. There's some really great quality, and look at the reviews and the feedback from the Etsy. I don't think thus far, I think it was once I purchased an Etsy bracelet that wasn't good quality, and it left the blue residue, which wasn't pure lapis. Lapis does not leave a residue. So just know, and just, suss out vibrationally where you get your crystals from, because there are those that sell the crystals that say there's something and they'll have a picture of it. But so really look at the reviews, because oftentimes it depends on, your vibration, and sometimes it's just meant to be that way for a lesson. For me, it was always about, sometimes the lessons are to stand in your power and not be sold just any story just because it's coming to you. Feel into the vibration of the story. That's a truth. And that's why I've been talking about it so much over the past couple of years, is that truth is a vibration and can be sensed. So feel into it from those intuitive, divine feminine intuition and psychic gifts that we all have. And so when you're purchasing anything online, feel into the truth of it, with any crystal. And I have quite a few crystal skulls. And I always feel into the story, vibrational story of the skull or the crystal. What is it asking to share with me? Because that's a communication that's done at that soul and energetic level, and it will show you and tell you, and you'll feel that vibrational pull of its truth. But Moldavite is a beautiful crystal that can be used for higher consciousness. And when you're meditating, you just put it on your third eye or your galactic third eye. Your galactic third eye, and I've been noticing in some of my videos that my hair has been changing right at my galactic third eye lately. And it's because I've gone through a complete cleansing and clearing of my third eyes and my crown. So that's been really good. So the galactic third eye is right at the hairline, and then the third eye is right here. And so these two placements are when you're connecting with those higher vibrational consciousness, galactic and divine energies. And when I used to teach my webinars, I have a diagram of the galactic ears and the vibrations and the threads that we are connecting with our teams and so on, and why it's so important, again, daily self-care to clear your fields. Use the botanical sprays, to clear your fields, especially when you're coming in from out of public, and just use those invocations and intentions throughout your day, and have your kids, if they're open to it, get used to it as well, because they're packing around so much energies. If they're not clearing it, they can feel quite lethargic. They can feel quite lethargic even when they're doing nothing. So just allow them to get outside and play, get in the lake, get in the river, whatever they're doing to and cleanse their field, and just send that white light to clear and cleanse their fields. If you see them, feeling overly lethargic, and get them to play and create through their emotional expressions, that helps them as well. So it's really important, as I said earlier at the beginning of my video, my early morning Ascension chat, when I was talking and teaching about the multidimensional bodies years and years ago, there was more often than not, and that's just the cycle that we move through in our ascension and our awakening, that those just that were really keen on awakening and really keen on the process, they just wanted to get to that highest space. And it's like those quick fix pills, if you will. They're always on the market for losing weight, and not necessarily understanding the journey of why we want to lose weight anyways. So really honoring that sacred journey, that one can think and one can perceive that you're just going to zip to a quick consciousness, higher vibrational state. But it's a journey of appreciation and love and sacredness. That's the journey, because it's always about knowing thyself, and anything that you're standing within your truth and feeling into those really subtle energies of power and divine feminine power, how that feels, that's a path that's slow and purposeful. I mean, the ascension journey is slow and purposeful. It may feel, especially now that we're going through this bottleneck, if you will, in our galaxy placement, how we're being aligned with Sirius and all of the beautiful galactic placements that we're moving through, it can feel boom, 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 that it's really, really quick. But the process is meant to be, okay, what am I feeling now? I want to express this. I want to explore who I am. I want to feel into this beautiful divine feminine power. I want to move my body in a different way, and the sensual body begins to awaken. The kundalini begins to rise up, and you begin to want to just share yourself in new ways. And that's when, others around you, and that's when that family experience is going to change, and it's meant to. It's really meant to. That's what they came for. They came for this beautiful divine shift, to see things go from a 3D perspective into something unknown, which is that fourth dimensional clearing and cleansing of all the emotional bodies, and stepping into this, wow, we can really do this in a different way. That's not what it used to be before. It's not meant to look like how it's always looked. It's just not. So letting go of the old stories, letting go and releasing, it's letting go and releasing. It might appear on the outside to be as we've always done, but everybody that knows anything that we start in September will not be as it was last September. Our collective has gone through a profound global awakening in however we've derived it from whatever traumas and dramas that we've co-created, so that we can see, what do we really value? Who are we? Know thyself as a collective. We are profound sacred children. We are profound sacred children. How can we stand within this sovereign truth? How can we stand within this essence of beauty of who we are as sovereign beings? And how may we honor all others going through their process? How may I stand within my pillar of light? How may I understand infusion so that I'm fully standing and I don't feel depleted and I don't feel like my light's being compromised because I'm being pulled into stories that don't feel good anymore? So stand in your truth and say, I get that, but I've worked through that energy of lack of self. I've worked through that energy of not enough. I've worked through those energies, and that's not my story anymore. And I'm going to stand in my power of this being my new story, and it's okay if you're not comfortable with it. It's okay if it feels weird. If it feels different, that's okay. You can work through that. That's part of your process. I value you in it. I'm honoring you in it. And this is my process too. And my process requires that I honor it. And I love it. And I'm empowered by it. I'm empowered by me. And one last thing I'll say in our chat, and then we'll get going. One thing that they have been honoring me and allowing me to see in various ways and feel into in various ways is what and I've often talked about this on our offerings about the vibration of grace. And grace, one of the meanings of my name, the vibration of my name is grace. But what I wanted to offer is self what's that word? Not self-preservation. Self-preservation is when you're preserving all that you are because you're in a situation that is not respecting and honoring who you are, not preserving you. So when you're in full alignment with someone or anyone in a collective, it's about honoring your soul, thy first, know thyself, honor thyself first, sacredness of thyself first, and therefore vibrating that to all others so they can then reflect and do that as well for themselves. So when you're compromising over and over and over again, you're self-sacrificing, when everybody else's needs around you come before yours, their words, their ways, their energies, their drive, their, whatever it might be. And you're just kind of taking care of everything and everyone and just being the vibrational fix it, be all for everybody. That's when it becomes self-sacrificing. And they offered me many, many times throughout the years is self-sacrificing serves no one. It's not allowing you to stand in your power. It's not allowing you to claim and own who you truly are as a sovereign being. So self-sacrificing is that energy and the vibration, because we all do it at certain points in our experience, because that's just moving through ascension. When you're giving more than you're receiving, when you know that your light and your energy and your emotions are being compromised by always feeding others and they're not doing it for themselves, and it's always that or energies of and that's just those that are not yet consciously awake, and that's just the process of ascension. That's just how it is moving into ascension. However, self-sacrificing is when we need to step up and we need to say, okay, this isn't okay with me anymore. I'm not receiving anything out of this. I need more. This is what I desire. This is what I need to be fulfilled in me. That's stepping into that true divine feminine empowerment. Where are the lines being drawn? And that's standing in your power, standing in your truth to know that you are being served as well. Self-sacrificing is when you are not being served. And it's a continual giving out to please and mitigate every single person in your environment, and you're being left with nothing. Nothing is coming back to you. That is self-sacrificing. And that's when every person will have to, at some point in their journey, say, my soul is not being fulfilled. My emotions are not being fulfilled. Anything about what I need as a person and a valued person is not being met. And I'm no longer going to sacrifice who I am, mentally, emotionally, physically, or etherically. They're self-sacrificing at every multidimensional level. And you standing in that power, again, which they showed me, will serve all of those other aspects that need you to stand in that power. Because as you stand in that power, you're calling in that greater light. You're standing in that authority. And all of those aspects of you will feel that energetic vibrational shift. So important. And depending on the systems of familial history that you've grown up with, the lineage, the Akash, all of those energies that we're now breaking. It will feel challenging and it will feel different, and there will be discomfort, because many of us that are also healing many lineage, divine feminine energies, where we're bringing back the divine feminine power to the divine feminine, to creatively express, to intelligently express, to be who we are as divine feminine in power, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter, because there's many beings in men bodies that are working in distorted female energies, because they've never felt the freedom and the benevolence and the joy to express their emotional bodies and to feel in receiving their emotional bodies. And so these are just the imbalances that everybody is moving through. So be aware, be aware of what standing in your power truly means at every vibrational level, because it's going to be different for everybody, depending again on where your soul is at, because your soul might want to truly experience and explore purity or devotion, or you know, that freedom, that divine will of power. You know, I want to manifest something that's just for me because it's going to serve my soul. It's going to make my soul feel great. And there might be others in the circle that are also moving through their awakening that it might look to their perspective based on where their vibration is at, what stories they're moving through, that it might seem, which many people have been working through in their mastery experience, is selfish. Because when you're standing in your power, to others it might look selfish, because they're working from the old paradigms, and that's okay. Remember, everybody will see through their eyes of what their soul is needing to heal. And self-care and self-alignment of your own self-power is not selfishness. Selfishness is more of the ego vibration. When you're living as the soul will always empower you to stand within the right of who you are as a sovereign being, to know that your creative expression is valued and divinely inspired. Your wisdoms are divinely sent to you from the heavens for a reason, for the greater good, to serve and be of joy of who you are, to help others and be in joy of who they are. So there always is a divine and a higher connection, but there is obviously varying perspectives and varying vibrational experiences that they must move through as well. Because again, if we are always standing in our pillar light as often as we can, because it's a process and it's a practice. So we're always going to be going back and forth, but you'll know when you're not in your power and in your power of light and centered, and when you are. You'll feel that difference, because you'll feel as this beautiful emanation of light for everybody, and you know your truth. Yeah, this doesn't work for me anymore. And you're very quick to say that feels good, that doesn't feel good, always from your center. But they're always going to see through the eyes through which they're here to heal and learn from and grow from. So have that be okay. It doesn't have to be, again, which I was learning, is that because one of the things was to speak my truth and be in that power, that I felt as a divine feminine that I had to what's that word called? Defend my point of view. And that becomes, then in that defensive mode, you're lowering your vibration to be in connection with those types of discussions and combative energies. And so when you're realigning with your center, and why we brought that up today, that everyone is moving through their unique perspective, their unique soul temperament, their unique vibrational eyes on which they see through. Remember, everybody's seeing through different eyes and perspectives. So because of the veils that they have to heal and clear. But you just stand and state your truth, not in a defensive manner, but to open it up as unconditional love and nurturing for you. Because that's all you're meant to do. You're only meant to serve and nourish and nurture your soul. As you do so, it affects others, because that's the vibration you're carrying. You don't have to defend yourself to anybody. You can state, this is my truth now, I'm so excited. And when you're stating it in an open and nourishing and unconditional and honoring way, when you're doing it from that place of joy, when you're doing it from that place of self-exaltation, it's a vibration that's unmistakable and undeniable. And it's not the vibration of defense, because that's a lowering vibration of, and that's when you're compromising your light. That's when we get held into those karmic cycles that nobody wins. You know, and there will be those people in your environment that will test you at it, but they're there to ensure that you stay on path, that you stay focused, that you stay in alignment. So they're serving you. They're serving you in building your mastery. They are serving you in building your innateness to stay in your power. And none of this is ever taught to us, because we're always taught to conform to systems of control and fear and limitation. So now we're allowing ourselves to open all that we are through the healing of the psyche, balancing our male and female, living from this multidimensional, omnipresent perspective, physical, mental, emotional, etheric. We can now see with clear eyes and say that, wow, as I nurture and nourish myself and honor myself as this divine, sacred woman that has great power, that has great wisdom and intelligence, I can state it and nourish me. I can state it and be my power. And I can be this pillar of light for all others, because I know that their fields and their hearts will be led through the activation of my unconditional heart. And I do, I am valued, and I have truth. And for those that so desire, they will feel and they will resonate with that vibration, because it's a vibration of truth. It's vibrational and it will be felt. And that's so empowering. That's everyone's journey to move through it for themselves, through the divine. It's so very powerful. I know there was something else there. Oh yeah, so we were talking about self-sacrificing. So self-sacrificing serves no one. But it's okay that you go through that. And just when we say those things, it's only because when you look at it after the fact, you will see that it didn't serve anybody. It just was years of pain and frustration that didn't necessarily have to be taken. And that's why, you know, sometimes my teams were giving me all of the experiences so that I can move through every aspect of navigation of the psyche and the human conditioning, so that I can learn and stand within my power in a truthful way, that when I'm ready to step into a new vibration, I absolutely can feel the subtleties of the games and the psyche energies that go on in those vibrational winning and losing, because that's everything that we've been conditioned in for eons of earthly experience and other planetary experience about control. That's ego. But now we're slipping into this soulful experience, and self-sacrificing does not serve your soul. If it does not serve your soul, you will feel that pit in your stomach. This does not feel right. This is telling me that this is my new direction. This feels right. This is nourishing. This amplifies who I am. This magnifies who I am. This allows me the portal of self-expression of who I am. And others can get used to it. I'm taking their energies into effect as well. I'm honoring their ride, and I'm here for them. I'm loving and I'm unconditional, but I'm no longer going to sacrifice who I am as a spirit. And I will speak my truth, and I will sing it, and I will present it in beautiful ways. That's good for me, that I feel I'm constantly pressing out who I am. And that's where the difference between and it's very subtle, and you'll have to catch yourself when you feel yourself doing this, because this is, again, the soul's test. When you can do it in a way that's loving and experiential and joyful and exalting of you, that is living from the soul. Not slipping into the vibration of defending yourself, because there's a difference vibrational offering. When you're doing it just to be you and that purity of your heart, and loving and understanding and honoring all, and giving compassion and love to all, and sending that space of genuine, heartfelt emanations of oneness, you'll feel it. You know, I'm just being me because it just feels good to be me. It feels good for me to sing. It feels good for me to say the light language to the house. And, you know, it just feels good for me to express who I am. And it's not lowering to say, well, this is who I am and that's who you are, and because then you'll feel that lowering of the vibration, and you become into that old karmic cycle, because that's what they're here to test you as. They're here to test you as, are you sure you're going to stand in your truth? Because I'm going to keep challenging you until you're really sure. We've contracted with them to come into our life to do that. And oftentimes we forget that because we're so caught up in the minutia of the emotional, who's right, who's wrong. That's just the human experience, because we're all learning to free flow. And that's something the ego at the collective level is not used to. We're always used to being controlled and feared, and, you know, all of these things to watch out for. And that's okay. That's the human story. There's no judgment in any of it, because we need that to say, well, that's not who I am anymore. Wow, okay, it feels good being me. I don't have to fear. I'm in charge of my body. I know who I am. I'm healthy. I'm strong. I'm standing in my light. I'm in full charge. This is sovereign power. And it feels different when it's pure. You know, so feel into the minutia of the flowing of purity, you know, the flowing of power that's pure. Your alignment with source. I'm breathing with the mother father right now. And it feels really good. It feels new, because the divine feminine, for me, I'm speaking my own personal journey. When we're talking about power, when I brought this up in my class last summer, seeing a divine feminine in power that was not misused or even in a masculine role, that was not misused and not for their ego purposes in any of our collective experiences, Lemurian or Atlantean, doesn't matter. We're loving and we're honoring through the soul's experience into a new paradigm that we've never experienced. So it's only natural for us to feel awkward and as if we're stepping on these new terrain that we've never experienced before, especially with vibrations like power, because it's come to us in such fearful ways. And as you can tell, my throat is clearing because it's an empowering process of clearing. As I'm speaking my truth, as I'm being who I am, I'm clearing the depths of my chakras that have been held back in years of subjugation. And so just allow that to be that beautiful morning musing. And I hope that some of this has helped anybody that's moving through their collective story feel into the subtleties of pure love, pure unconditional love and compassion, but also feel okay to stand in your power, what your power really feels like. And you're going to be tested moving through the working of the energy. When you can feel into it and intend the vibration to be soft and loving and exalting of you and honoring of you, when you say things and when you express who you are and when you express your truth, and releasing those defensive energies of having to combat or stand up for yourself or to state the same thing over and over again. Because then you're just moving back into those cycles of infusion that don't feel good because you're self-sacrificing who you are as light. And that's why I brought all of that into this one conversation. So if you listen to it over and over again, we understand because we're Christic beings and we're offering a vibration, we're offering codes, that you're going to get something different from it every time that you listen to it. And that you might be seeking to understand what self-sacrificing and how you might be sacrificing throughout your day, of who you are as light and who you are as a creative being of ever pressing out consciousness. What values are wanting to come forward for you to truly own and honor and claim. You're worthy and you're meant to be joyful. You are meant to be blissful. And we've got some new videos on our YouTube channel that Mario had put up a couple of our postings and our Ascension writings on. So we thank you, Mario. And just know that you're worthy of the miracles that are living through you when you state and you live in that flowing allowance and acceptance of being your entire essence of who you are as power. You're going to experience miracles because you're creating them. You're allowing them. In your divine power, yes, I claim myself to be happy. I claim the miracles coming forward through me. I am living my breath with God and Source Creator and all that is. And I'm affecting the all and being this joyful. I get to be this way. And it's okay that others around me might be discomforted. That's okay. That's part of their journey too. But I've come here to be this pillar of light to activate. I've come to be this pillar of light to exalt who I am. And so too I will be. We will bring Gaia home. We will allow the light and the joy and the laughter and the oneness. All is one and one is all. And our oneness will help heal our planet. And our oneness will help heal our hearts. We're all moving through this together. There is no right or wrong. It is all neutral, and we are all learning to be one within it. We're all learning to be one within it. In benevolent, when we get to that, when the collective as a whole moves into this neutrality, we will all see the undeniable respect and honor we have for one another. And we're not there yet, obviously, because there's ample levels of dishonoring and disrespect. That's the collective vibration. So this is why it's so important that each of us, the more that we each do, got this one hair that's just coming into my eyelashes, the more that we do stand in our own power, we're adding to that collective power that is exalting in love and compassion and understanding and joy for who we are. Not compromising the needs, creating greater imbalance, or over demanding our power on others. That's been a great imbalance. And so it's really beautiful. It's allowing ourselves to be that master and to know that you will be tested and tested over and over, especially with energies that you know you've come here to heal, because you're healing it for your collective and your lineage and your Akash. And so just know that, be soft and gentle with yourself. You know, don't think you've got to get through this one issue of, you know, standing in your power as a divine feminine and deal with it overnight. That's putting a lot of expectations on yourself, because your collective and your ancestors and your lineage don't expect that of you. You know, like my teams told me last night, that the amount of spiritual work and growth that you've done is profound. So can you soften into yourself and know that and honor that in yourself, and do a life review and say, wow, I've grown. I can sense the subtleties of these programs that are going, and I can choose to step out and stand in my power. Truly stand in my power with honor and say, wow, I've learned that through a lot of difficult trials and tribulations, and a lot of loss, and a lot of challenge, and a lot of sadness, and a lot of, all that emotional things that we traverse. The lady with the moon at her feet. She's standing on that moon because she understands the value of the emotional body, and she's representing the heavens in doing so. That's that story and how it emulates to me. She stands as that pillar of light of the heavens. And the value of our emotional body is so very profound. She's standing on that moon as the emotional body, to understand it with great honor and respect and sacredness, not to allow the emotions to overweigh the mental body or the physical body or the etheric body, but for it to all be balanced. And that's why when she stands, she's standing in the direct center of the moon. In some of the images that are accurate, she's standing in the very center of the moon, and the moon is her vessel of travel. Her emotions are her mental travel. It says, does this feel good for me? No. Okay, well then let's change it. Does that feel good for me? No. Okay, well let's change it. The heavens are the stars that she represents, her higher consciousness, as above, so below. And that emotional body is that intuition that it doesn't matter what textbook is written, she will follow how she feels. And she will be driven by that. It's such a profound, multi-dimensional experience that we're meant to dive deeper in and translate in much deeper, wider ways. And that's why I've always said that our tarot and our oracles will become deeper and richer and wider, because what the tarot meant in a 3D is not what we're moving through in 5D. And that's why so many oracle decks are coming out now, because the oracle decks are representing that transition into 5D. Because the tarot is based on the psyche patterns and the energies of us living within those third dimensional eons of lifetimes. They still have value. For me, I rarely use the Rider-Waite. Not that there's no judgment on it at all. I prefer other decks that carry the vibration of an omnipresence energy. That's just my own personal preference. There's nothing wrong with it. I still go to the Rider-Waite. But there is the expression and the transition of who we are becoming as greater omnipresent beings. And they will always have value. Everything always has value. There's always need. There's always requirement. And there's no judgment either way of any of it. But you'll see from the energies of our collective will change and transform everything within our experience, as we've talked about, for schools, for banking, for systems of art. Those artists are coming forward to activate our DNA and our cells. There's codes within their art and the songs and the sounds. So everything will change and shift as we become empowered to stand and exalt who we are as unique beings of souls. There will always be value, and there will always be energy that we can draw from it. There will always be, because the all is the all, and it's all needed and required. So that's why we're saying there's always value in everything. And everything that you move through, just know, I'm just going to say this because I know they're offering me to go back to my own personal experience, because I know how hard I've been on myself. And I want to know that this is a community where you can always comment below. When especially when you're a parent and you're a family, never ever feel guilty or bad about our experiences. If we say past, it's all now. But just know that your moment of standing in your truth now and offering your unconditional heart now, you can allow every vibration on your experience to change and their experience to change. You heal the past by living truthfully in this moment of now. Live truthfully in this moment of now, of pure unconditional love, and knowing that when you do, and releasing all that was, the patterns, whatever you were brought up within, and releasing it sometimes is oftentimes as hard as it's been, because they're ingrained programs, and the programs are what we're here to transcend. Especially in our interpersonal relationships, Ascension effects, especially, we're healing our families, because they're the ones that we've contracted to teach us to grow, to press out, to expand, to ignite, to inspire us to be our most pure, authentic soul. And sometimes those lessons are not comfortable, and sometimes they're not easy. They're not meant to be. They're meant to challenge us in every way, for us to challenge and own our truth, for us to own our voice in a loving and joyful way, not in a controlling, manipulative way. And those are the programs that we've come from as parenting, you know, do what I say and not as I do kind of thing. You're only, speak when you're only spoken to kind of thing. Those are such old programs. So allow yourself to know that in every moment that you intend to live authentically from your heart, and just to know that your simplicity of being love is enough. Being love is enough, because that love center will be enough. Because you can only do so much in one day, right? You're not meant to solve the world in a day. You're not meant to heal everybody's. Your job is to move through your soul's experience. And we're offering you this on how it works with the infusions and the inner circles that you work within. And that standing in your truth and standing in your power and knowing thyself is so very important, and it affects all those around you. And how to notice those subtleties when you're being drawn back into cycles that don't feel good. Be the woman of the moon at her feet. And feel good about what you're moving and your decisions and your choices being led from this center point, because it does affect everybody else. And there will be an enlightenment from it. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be the next day, it might be 5 years from now. But when you're moving with authenticity of your pure truth and your highest knowing, it will be affected by all. Because as they showed me, that self-sacrificing serves no one. Those activations and those standing in your pillar of truth, and they're waiting for you to stand within that truth. That's what they've come for, no matter how much they challenge you. They've come for that. You're just forgetting it because you're being so stuck within the emotional minutia that goes nowhere. But that's what we're breaking. And it's really, really challenging to break those programs, because they're all patterned and they're so ingrained within us. But Moldavite is a great crystal if you're wanting that higher consciousness connection with your celestial teams and the celestial families. And it is a crystal that I've found, and as I'm only speaking personally, again, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Moldavite for me is a crystal that if you're working with it and you're using it a lot, and I put them in my bras. There are certain crystals you can't put on your body though. So just be aware of that, and just make sure that you're doing your own research and looking online which ones that you can touch and wear all the time and which ones you can't. There are very few that you can't wear and you can't touch and handle. So just know that. I think malachite, unless it's a polished one, you can't hold and embody the malachite, as far as I know. There are irons in it that are not good for the body and for the lungs. I think it's malachite. So just make sure you're doing your research when you're doing it. But Moldavite is one of those crystals that you'll see change. And lapis is a crystal that I use all the time. Lapis does not, because it's of an earthly nature, I think anyways, this is my sensing. Lapis is an earthly stone. And lapis, the face of it and the veins of it change, because your energy is working with it. Remember that infinity. You're working with it energetically, and the faces and the veins of it will change. However, the stone itself will not, as what I've worked with anyways. The stone of Moldavite does. And so just play with that. Just feel into the subtleties of the experience of source living through you, because you'll see these subtleties move in everything, whether it's your water, you're communicating with the water. And we said in our post a long time ago, the celestial teams and the higher teams were offering me that, yes, these are the things of the Ascension systems as we're shifting into 5D. Manifestations will happen much more quickly. Again, center and be love so that you're manifesting love. Flowers and colors and earth, anything that's of the natural substances will be more subtle in its story to you and with you and through you. So just know that that's a part of the Ascension symptoms. You're going to see greater loss of time, greater missing pockets of time. I had a really wild experience last night. Maybe I'll talk about it in our next video. I'll talk about that in the next video. So pockets of time will be missing, and time changes and shifts because we're jumping and threading in different timelines. We're preparing ourselves for new timelines. The more that we center and align within. So our centering and aligning within puts us on the right timeline that we're meant to be on. Just know that. Take that as a truth. As you are, so your name is. What else did they say? Oh yeah, the stories and the vibrational energies that are coming from nature and natural elements will become more vibrant and subtle and synchronistic in your just knowing. You're just going to know. Your activation of your innate body, the Akash, your multidimensional acknowledgement will just get turned on, like that cell that breaks the membrane. So that's that membrane breaking. Okay, I know it. It's active now. It's in my field. I get it. Because if it's active in your field, it's looking out for that code that's in the environment that is consciousness, God consciousness, right? We're all interacting with our fields. So this interaction within your field, this little cell out here that says, okay, I'm ready for this wisdom, I'm ready for this wisdom, I'm ready for this wisdom, and Gaia will send you that wisdom as you're walking on a trail. So just know that. That's a knowing that, okay, my body is opening, I'm looking for an herb to help with this. State that intention at the beginning of your day, and you will see things unfold and come to you. So this is how we are communicating at a higher vibrational energy. And the stories of flowers and colors will not be what we've thought it used to be in 3D, because we're now seeing from a multidimensional perspective. That flower will have a multidimensional story for you. And this is why every aspect of life is holy, is pure, is refined as the holy creators. There is a story, vibrational offering in everything. The pure miracle of all things source. So just know that. It's so exciting. I'm so excited. Anyways, I'll keep this. I know this is probably longer than I wanted it to be, but it was so exciting, and so happy to share with you. I love you all. Thank you, Soul Tribe. I love you so much. Go forward knowing that you are the miracle. Stand in your light. Stand in your power. Be the open, loving being that you are, to honor all that you are, so that you set that vibrational experience for all to be in joy of, and know that your energy, your vibration, your core heart, and your core truth is needed and required as we send love and peace to all upon planet Earth, for we are one, and the one is the all. Namaste.